I called home. I said, it's true about this boy. I was calling everybody. This dude can play. When I first met him, I said, all right, I'm going to see this dude, this white cat can really go like he said.
Because the verdict is always out on white boys that can hoop. With all due respect, it's always out.
It's respect. This ain't nothing bad. So I said, let me see what he can do.
But Larry had something that most white boys don't have. Just say that. Just keep it real.
Man,
Larry was different now. Larry was different now.
He had a little bit of nigger.
Yeah, he was different now. He was different now. Larry was different now.
That boy, he can play, man.
Magic Johnson and Larry Bird were once seen as basketball's greatest enemies. They fought for titles, battled on the court, and became symbols of one of the NBA's most iconic rivalries. But years later, that rivalry turned into a surprising friendship. Recently, Magic revealed a side of their story that many fans never knew. It wasn't just about championships or competition. It was about the jealousy, anger, and emotions that came before they finally understood each other. Their journey was bigger than basketball. Two rivals became friends and helped change the NBA forever. But here's the question: what if Magic and Larry never became friends? Would their rivalry still have changed the game?
From the beginning, I wanted to be friends, but Larry didn't want none of that. And so I said, okay, if that's how it's going to be, then we have to be like that. That's right. So I started disliking him too. But, he told me that, I smiled all the time, and he knew that I would smile at you, but I want to cut your heart out at the same time. So he knew that was part of my strategy, to lure him in as my friend.
My thing was, when you compete, you're really not friends. You want to keep an edge. Irvin is an outgoing guy. He loves everybody. He wants to high five, and he got that big smile. My goal was to try to take 3 of them teeth home with me.
Let's start with something Magic Johnson once admitted that many people overlooked. He hated Larry Bird. Not just disliked him, but truly hated him, and that same feeling extended to the entire Celtics team. It wasn't a joke or dramatic statement. It was Magic reflecting on one of sport's greatest rivalries and admitting that, in the beginning, there was nothing friendly about it. Today, fans see the inspiring version of their story. Two legends who pushed each other, earned respect, and became symbols of a legendary rivalry. But behind the highlights was a much more intense story filled with anger, jealousy, and emotions that made their journey from enemies to friends even more remarkable.
I can remember the first time I laid eyes on Magic Johnson. We played on an all-star team back in college. I could not believe what I was seeing in practice. I actually thought I was a bad judge of talent because neither one of us got to play in the games. But I can remember going home and telling my older brother, I just seen the best basketball player I'm probably ever going to see in my life. And he started quizzing me, asking me questions. Well, how good is he? I said, well, he's 6'9", he can handle the ball like a 5'9" guard, he can shoot the ball, he can pass like you can't believe. He goes, oh, come on. Well, after this 1979, the NCAA tournament, my brother come up to me, he says, yeah, he's a lot better than you. So that made me work harder, knowing that me and Magic was going to be linked from '79 through our pro careers. And I have to admit, I worked tirelessly every day, practicing for one reason: try to beat them damn Lakers.
Now, let's go back to where it all began, 1979. The stage was set for a historic showdown, Michigan State against Indiana State, in the NCAA championship. On one side was Magic Johnson, and on the other was Larry Bird. This wasn't just another college game. It was the moment that sparked one of basketball's greatest rivalries. More than 35 million people watched, making it the most-watched college basketball game ever, and a moment that changed the sport forever. Stars from completely different backgrounds captured the attention of millions and created a moment that professional sports could only dream of. Larry Bird came from a small town in Indiana, growing up with very little and facing struggles that shaped his tough mentality. Despite the odds, he carried Indiana State, a team few expected to reach the spotlight, all the way to the biggest game in college basketball. On the other side was Magic Johnson, the confident and charismatic leader of Michigan State. Their contrast made the matchup unforgettable. Michigan State won 75-64, with Magic leading the way with 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 assists. But even after winning, Magic admitted something surprising. Larry Bird's talent and determination had already made him feel uneasy. Bird didn't look defeated after losing the championship. He looked calm, confident, and like he was already thinking several steps ahead. That moment stayed with Magic and planted the foundation for a rivalry that would soon explode at the NBA level. A few months later, both players entered the league. At the time, the NBA was struggling to attract attention. Finals games were shown on tape delay, and interest was fading. The league needed a spark, and it found one in two young superstars who had real tension between them. Every time Magic and Bird faced off, it wasn't just a basketball game. It was a battle between two players who pushed each other to the limit.
Everything was written with Bird versus Magic, Magic versus Bird, that whole thing. And it wasn't Indiana State versus Michigan State anymore. It was Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson.
Magic entered the NBA with the Lakers, a team already loaded with talent, including Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and a strong supporting cast built for success. Larry Bird's situation was completely different. He joined a Celtics team that had struggled badly, finishing the previous season with just 29 wins. Then Bird arrived and changed everything. As a rookie, he averaged 21 points and 10 rebounds, helping Boston rise to 61 wins, a stunning 32-win improvement in just one season. He didn't rely on flashy moves or constant highlights. Bird dominated with smart decisions, elite fundamentals, and a confidence that made him impossible to ignore. When the Rookie of the Year voting ended, Bird had beaten Magic and claimed the award. Magic had just won a championship and delivered an impressive rookie season, averaging 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists while playing on a talented Lakers team. But Larry Bird winning Rookie of the Year changed the way Magic viewed their rivalry. It became more than competition. It became personal. Magic later revealed just how much Bird motivated him. Every morning, before coffee or breakfast, he would grab the newspaper and check Larry Bird's stats from the night before. He did it every single day. That wasn't just normal competitiveness. It was a level of focus and obsession that showed how much Bird had gotten inside Magic's mind. But there was another side to the story that many people didn't see. While Magic was constantly chasing Bird, Bird was also watching Magic closely. The truth was, Larry Bird had his own jealousy and frustration toward Magic. Magic later revealed that Bird had admitted something surprising. Early in their careers, Larry actually felt jealous of Magic's success. That feeling was real, and it nearly stood in the way of the friendship they would eventually build. Think about how intense that rivalry was. Both players claimed they couldn't stand each other. Both were checking each other's performances. Both were constantly comparing themselves to the other. This wasn't a one-sided battle. It was a mutual obsession that pushed them to become better. Bird simply hid his emotions behind his quiet, serious personality. He wasn't known for pointless trash talk. When Larry spoke, his words had a purpose, and then he backed them up on the court. That mindset created a different kind of pressure for anyone who had to face him. One of the clearest examples came during the first NBA three-point contest in 1986. The greatest shooters in the league were preparing themselves for the first three-point contest, but Larry Bird walked in with a completely different mindset. He looked around the room and confidently asked, "So, which one of you is finishing second?" He didn't even take off his warm-up jacket. He said it with complete calm, like the result was already decided. Then he went out, won the contest, and made history while still wearing that same jacket. When his final shot went in, Bird didn't even wait to see it drop. He raised his finger, turned toward the trophy, and walked away like he already knew the outcome. That confidence wasn't just talk. In 1985 against the Atlanta Hawks, Bird scored 60 points and started calling his shots before taking them. At one point, he told the bench he would hit a shot and end up sitting in the trainer's lap.